Tivrena bhakti yogena yajetaha purusha param. So the 10th verse, akama sarva kamo va moksha kamo dharatihi tivrena bhakti yogena yajeta purusha param. So very important. One with broader intelligence, whether he's full of material desire, without any desire, or desiring liberation, by all means should worship the Supreme Lord. 11th verse. एतावानेव यजतामिह निःश्रेयसोदयः भगवत्यचलो भावो यद्भागवतः सङ्गतः एतवानेव यजताम् इह निःश्रेयसोदयः भगवत्यचलो भावो यद्भागवतः सङ्गतः. So 11th verse, 3rd chapter, Canto 2. Etavan eva yajatam iha nishreya sodayah bhagavati achaloho bhavo bhagavati achaloho bhavo yad bhagavataha sangatah. So these type of worshippers, there are many different kinds of worshippers. Etavan, these all different kinds of worshippers. Yajatam, while worshipping iha in this life, nishreyasaha, they should think of attaining the highest perfection. Udayaha, Bhagavataha, Achalaha. What is the highest benediction they should have? That is spontaneous love for Krishna. Achalaha, Bhavaha. Achalaha means unflinching love for Lord. Spontaneous attraction should be there. Yad Bhagavataha Sangataha. This can be attained only by the association of your devotee. So various kinds of worshippers were discussed yesterday. Like those who want good strength, they worship Surya. Those who want good wife, they worship Uma. These are different. Those who want to expand their progeny, then they worship Prajapatis. Those who want to increase the descendants, they worship Shiva. Like this, various kinds of worshippers. But they can attain the highest perfection, that is unflinching love for Krishna. Ahaituki apratiyata yayatma suprasidati. Ahaituki bhakti apratiyata bhakti. That means unmotivated and deviated devotion to Lord can be attained only Bhagavataha Sangataha. Bhagavata Sangataha. Bhagavata Sangataha means by the association of devotee. Because the worshippers of the demigods, they have their own destinations. Yanti devavata devan pitru yanti pitruvataha. Bhutani yanti bhutejyaha. Yanti madhyaji no pimam. Whoever worships me, they come back to me. But those who are worshipping various demigods, they have different destinations. Those who are worshipping Pitrus, they get Pitruloka. Those who are worshipping Bhutaganas. And in this way, different worshippers have been. And the destination is also told. So in this way, but for having Krishna devotion, to go back home, back to Godhead, that is the highest perfection of life for them. That can only happen by the association of devotee. So after the worshippers of various devatas have the desires fulfilled, what goal do they achieve? Nothing. But if they receive the mercy of the devotees, then they attain bhakti. The worshippers of devatas will attain the highest good, Nishreyasavodaya, if an attitude of service to the Lord arises because of the association of devotees. Otherwise, no good arises because the devatas cannot bestow the highest good. Very clearly here, Shri Vishwanath Chakravarti Thakur's commentary. They cannot attain anything highest. And we have seen in Bhagavad Gita also, whatever the benediction the devatas give, that is temporary. That is not ultimate good also. That's not highest good also. That is by coming in contact with the devotee, that is the bhagya. That's a fortune for a demigod worshipper. That is why bhagyavan jiva Guru Krishna Prasad Paye Bhakti Rata Beej. Okay. Ravindra Prabhu read.
Hare Krishna Mata, Dandavat Prasad. एतावानेव यजताम् इह निःश्रेय सोदयः भगवती अचलो भावो भागवत संगतः. Translation by Srila Prabhupada. All the different kinds of worshippers of multi demigods can attain the highest perfection and benediction, which is spontaneous attraction unflinchingly fixed upon the Supreme Personality of Godhead only by the association of the pure devotee of the God. Offered by Srila Prabhupada. All living entities in different statuses of life within the material creation, beginning from the first demigod Brahma down to the small ant, are conditioned under the law of material nature or the external energy of the Supreme Lord. The living entity in his pure state is conscious of the fact that he is part and parcel of the law. But when he is thrown into the material world on account of his desire to lord it over material nature, he becomes conditioned by the three modes of material nature. And thus he struggles for existence for the highest benefit. This struggle for existence is something like following the will of the wish under the spell of material enjoyment. All plans for material enjoyment, either by worshipping of different demigods as described in the previous verses of this chapter, or by modernized advancement of scientific knowledge without the help of God or demigod, are illusory only. For despite all such plans for happiness, the conditioned living being within the compass of material creation and never solve the problems of life, namely birth, death, old age, and disease. The history of the universe is full of such plan makers. And many kings and emperors come and go, living a plan-making story only. But the prime problems of life remain unsolved despite all endeavors by such plan makers. Actually, human life is meant for making a solution to the problems of life. One can never solve such problems by satisfying the different demigods, by different modes of worship, or by the so-called scientific advancements in knowledge without the help of God or the demigods. Apart from the gross materialist who cares very little either for God or for the demigods, the Vedas recommend worship of different demigods for different benefits, and so the demigods are neither false nor imaginary. The demigods are as factual as we are, but they are much more powerful due to their being engaged in the direct service of the Lord, in managing different departments in the universal government. The Bhagavad Gita affirms this. The different planets of the demigods are mentioned there, including the one of the supreme demigod, Lord Brahma. The gross materialists do not believe in the existence of God or the demigod, nor do they believe that different planets are dominated by different demigods. They are creating a great commotion about reaching the closest celestial body, Chandralok, or the moon. But even after much mechanical research, they have only very scanty information of this moon. And in spite of much false advertisement for selling land on the moon, and in spite of such false advertisement for selling land on the moon, the popular scientists or gross materials cannot even live there. And what to speak of reaching the other planets, which they are unable to even count. However, the followers of the Vedas have a different method of acquiring knowledge. They accept the statements of the Vedic literature as authority in toto, as we have already discussed in Canto 1. And therefore, they have full and reasonable knowledge of God and demigods and of the different residential planets situated within the compass of the material world and also beyond the limit of the material sky. The most authentic Vedic literature, accepted by the great acharyas like Shankaracharya, Ramanuja, Madhava, Vishnu Swami, Nimbarka, and Chaitanya, and studied by all important personalities of the world, is the Bhagavad Gita, in which the worship of the demigods and their respective residential planets are mentioned. The Bhagavad Gita 9:25 affirms, Yanti Deva Rata Devan Pitran Yanti Pitra Vrataha Bhutani Yanti Bhate Bhutani Yanti Bhate Jya Yanti Mad Yagjino Apima. The worshippers of demigods reach the respective planets of the demigod, and the worshipper of forefathers reach the planets of the forefathers. The gross materials remains the same. The gross material remains in the different material planets, but the devotees of the Lord reach the kingdom of God. We also have information from the Bhagavad Gita that all the planets within the material world, that is including Brahmalok, are but temporarily situated. And after a fixed period, they are all annihilated. Therefore, the demigods and their followers are all annihilated at the period of devastation. But one who reaches the kingdom of God gets a permanent share in eternal life. That is the verdict of Vedic literature. The worshippers of the demigods have one facility more than the unbelievers due to their being convinced of the Vedic worship, by which they can get information of the benefits of worshipping the Supreme Lord in the association of devotees of the Lord. The gross materialist, however, without any faith in the Vedic version, remains eternally in darkness, driven by a false conviction on the basis of imperfect experimental knowledge, or so-called material science, which can never reach into the realm of transcendent knowledge. Therefore, unless the broad materialist or the worshippers of the demigods come into contact with the transcendentalists like the pure devotee of the Lord, their attempts are simply a waste of energy. Only by the grace of divine personality, the pure devotees of the Lord can achieve pure devotion, which is the highest perfection in human life. Only a pure devotee of the Lord can show the right way of progressive life. Otherwise, both the materialistic way of life without any information of God or demigods and the life engaged in the worship of demigods in pursuit of temporary material enjoyments are different phases of phantasmagoria. They are nicely explained in the Bhagavad Gita also. But the Bhagavad Gita can be understood in the association of pure devotees only, and not by the interpretation of politics or tried philosophical speculators. Hare Krishna.
Now the question arises, how is it that, oh Bindu Madhav Mataji, please mute your phone. Mute your phone. Yeah. So the question arises, how is it that the worshippers of the demigods, they worship demigods? How is it that they start loving Lord? The answer is given in the 12th verse. Because they are connected to one demigod, the whole life they are worshipping the demigod. And how come they develop the love for Lord? So very clearly it has been, this is the answer. The 12th verse is the answer. How they can attain the love for Lord. Jnanam yad apariti nivrittah gunor chakram atma prasada uta yatra guneshva sangaha kaivalya sammata patasvatha bhakti yogaha ko nirvrito harikatha suratim na kuryad. Jnanam yad aprati gunor chakram atma prasada uto yatra guneshva sangaha kaivalya sammata patasvatha bhakti yogaha ko nivritto harikathastu ratim na kuryad. Last line is very important. Only by hearing process. Harikatha. By Harikatha, they get knowledge first. Jnanam yad aprati nivritta. Now, they are into demigod worship. So, which type of knowledge they are getting? The knowledge which is approved for attaining the Lord. Bhagavad Gita Jnanam, Bhagavatam Jnanam. This is all the path to attain Lord. So, that Jnanam has been spoken, not speculative knowledge. Because if you see, Anyabhilashita Shunyam, Jnana Karmadi Anavrutam, Anukulyena Krishna Anushilam Bhakti Uttama. What is Bhakti? Uttama Bhakti. There should not be any desire. You need desire even for Jnanam. Which Jnanam has been spoken there? Speculative knowledge. Here, which Jnanam has been spoken? The knowledge by which one can attain Lord. So, because of that, he develops distaste. Complete suspension has been given. Guna urmihi. He completely withdraws. Prati nivrittaha. He withdraws himself from the waves of material modes. Because of the material modes, he worships demigods. Kama is rutagyana prapadyante anyadevataha. And this kama is because of gunas. Kamesha, krodesha, rajoguna samudbhava. Because of the gunas, influence of the gunas. But when he withdraws himself from the gunas, chakram is his whirlpool of the gunas, naturally, he will be more inclined to worship Lord. And he will be self-satisfied also. Atma prasadataha, he is self-satisfied. Uta yatraha guneshu asangaha, by because there is no asanga. There is no attachment to the material things. Kaivalya sammattaha. Now he is taken the transcendental path, which is approved. Sammataha patha. This path has been approved. So he is taking a path which is approved. Then he attains bhakti yoga. Kaha nirvrittaha. So why a person will not be attached? Ka. Who is that person who will not be attached? Hari kathasu ratim na kuriyad. When Hari Katha is giving such benefit, why a person will not be attached? Hari Katha is giving the benefit of having Atma Prasadaha, self-satisfaction. Hari Katha is giving the benefit of completely withdrawing oneself from the whirlpool of waves of material modes. So Hari Katha is taking a person, Kaivalyaha, making a person go completely transcendental, or making a person transcendental to the modes of material nature, and giving Bhakti Yoga, devotional path. Then why a person will not be attached? If you see similar verses, Nivruttatarshe, Rupagiyamanat, Bhavagoshata, Shotramano, Virama, Kauttama Shloka Gulanuvadat, Uman Virajyeta, Vina Pashupnat. That person is only killer of the self if he is not attached to Harikatha. And vice versa, if a person is not attached to Harikatha, he is not a devotee. Simple. He is not a devotee. Sometimes you see people become very complacent after, hey, we have heard this many times. No, eager to hear again and again, again and again. That is a qualification of a devotee. The same words of Bhagavad Gita. You see, the preacher may be speaking again and again, again and again, but always there is new revelation. A hearer may be hearing again and again, but always there is a new revelation. Nityam Bhagavata Sevaya. Again, again, read the same thing. Now, what we are reading, again, again, the same thing. Attachment to the lotus feet of Krishna. Bhakti Yoga is attachment to the lotus feet of Krishna. So, who is that person who will not be attached to Harikatha? That is the question asked. Harikatha is giving so much of benefit. So, worshippers of demigods, just by hearing Harikatha, they can become completely transcendental, come out of all the modes of material nature, get self-satisfaction. In this way, they attain Bhakti Yoga. So solution is what? Harikatha. Then it is very easy for the worshippers of the demigods to get devotional service or attain Krishna's lotus feet. That is, it is said, whenever there is some pandal program, like you have Ganapati Utsav, go there, preach. Preach. Don't go and preach anything negative. Preach all positive. Show the connection between Ganesha and Krishna. If you are called for some Durga Puja, go there and show the connection of Durga Mata to Krishna. So in this way, just by hearing, who knows, out of thousands who are hearing, of hundreds who are hearing, one's heart may melt. He may come close to you. He may try to learn more about Apratihata, Ahaituki, Bhakti. So at least they're worshipping an authority. They have stopped animalistic tendency of unrestricted sense enjoyment. Demigod worshippers are better than animals. At least they are accepting an authority. And slowly, when they understand their authority is connected to the supreme authority, then their faith increases more on the supreme authority, and their faith increases on their authority, that their authority is subservient to the supreme authority. So they stop asking materialistic things. In fact, to their authority, they ask the worship of the supreme authority. Okay. You have any doubt, Mataji? Yeah.
Yes, Mataji. Mataji, here we are talking about Hari Katha. That undoubtedly is the attractive factor. But like as Vishwanath Chakravarti Thakur says, Satam Seva. So, and in the previous verse also, we have seen how Bhagavat association helps. And then Krishna Katha will follow anyways if they are associating with the devotees. So instead of focusing on Hari Katha, why not on association with devotees as such?
What does a devotee do?
He'll
Pushyan-
do, yeah, Bodhayanta Parasparam Harikatha.
only,
will
na?
do. Yes.
So when you say association of devotees, what does it mean? It means Harikatha only. It means Harikatha.
Yeah.
Okay. Generally we think Harikatha means some pandal program or something. Tushyanti cha ramanti cha. Whenever somebody meets you, start speaking. Somebody is worshipper of Ganesha. Immediately start speaking. Show the connection. Respect. Don't show disrespect. Respect. When you start respecting others, automatically they like to be with you. When you start criticizing, people shun off. There's a way to become friend. If you talk ill about anyone, then people will shun off. They'll show disrespect. Never show any hatred towards anyone. Everybody is given some task. Even Lord Shiva was given the task of giving a wrong philosophy. So are we hating Lord Shiva? No. In the same way, there are certain vibhutis. They have been given a task of spreading something, a wrong philosophy. Respect the vibhutis. You may not accept the philosophy, but respect the vibhutis. Vibhutis are those who are yadyat vibhuti mat sattvam shrimad urjitam evava. Even a demon is a vibhuti. It is not so easy to be a demon also. To show demonic tendency is also not so easy. To stand on one toe is also not so easy. That is also energy of Krishna. Vibhuti means energy. So start respecting people. If you start criticizing people, then the medias are there. Okay. Gyandeep Prabhu.
Hare Krishna Maharaj. ज्ञानम यदा प्रीति निवृत्त गुणोर चक्र महात्मा प्रसाद उत यत्र गुणेश्व संग केवल्य सम्मत पथस्तत्व भक्ति योगा को निवृत्तो हरि कथा सुरतिम न कुर्यात्. Translation by Srila Prabhupada. Transcendental knowledge in relation with Supreme Lord Hari is knowledge resulting in complete suspension of the waves and whirlpool of the material modes. Such knowledge is self-satisfying due to its being free from material attachment and being transcendental. It is approved by the authorities who could fail to be attracted. Purport by Srila Prabhupada ki jai. According to Bhagavad Gita 10.9, the characteristics of pure devotee are wonderful. The complete functional activities of a pure devotee are always engaged in the service of Lord. And thus the pure devotee exchange feelings of ecstasy between themselves and relish transcendental bliss. This transcendental bliss is experienced even in the stage of devotional practice, sadhana avastha, if properly undertaken under the guidance of a bona fide spiritual master. And in the mature stage, the developed transcendental feeling culminates in realization of the particular relationship with the Lord by which a living entity is originally constituted. Bracket up to the relationship of conjugal love with the Lord, which is estimated to be the highest transcendental bliss. Thus, Bhakti Yoga being only means of God realization is called Kaivalya. Srila Jiva Goswami quotes the Vedic version, Eko Narayano Deva Paravaranayam Parama Aste Kaivalya Samjinta. In this connection and establishes that Narayana, the personality of Godhead, is known as Kaivalya, and the means which enable one to approach the Lord is called the Kaivalya Pantha, or the only means of attainment of Godhead. This Kaivalya Pantha begin from Sravana or hearing, those topics that relate to the personality of Godhead. And the natural consequences of hearing such Hari Katha is attainment of transcendental knowledge, which causes detachment from all mundane topics for which a devotee has no taste at all. For a devotee, all mundane activities, social and political, become unattractive. And in the mature state, such a devotee become uninterested even in his own body, and what to speak of bodily relatives. In such a state of affairs, one is not agitated by the waves of the material modes. There are different modes of material nature, and all mundane functions in which the common man is very much interested or in which he takes part become unattractive for the devotee. This state of affairs is described herein. Paratinivirta Guru no Gunormi, and it is possible by Atma Prasada or complete self-satisfaction without any material connection. The first-class devotee of the Lord attains this stage by devotional service. But despite his loftiness for the Lord's satisfaction and may play the voluntary part of the preacher of the Lord's glory and dovetail all into devotional service, even mundane interest, just to give the neophytes a chance to transform mundane interest into the transcendental bliss. Srila Rupa Goswami has described this action of pure devotee as nirbandha, Krishna
Sambandhe
sambandha.
yukta vairagyam uchyate.
Even mundane activities dovetail with service to the Lord are also calculated to be transcendental or approved Kaivalya affairs. Hare Krishna Mataji, thank you.
Now Shaunakadi Rishi, they are having doubt. Let's see the doubt. Shaunakuvacha idi abhivyarutam raja nishamya bharatarshabah kim manyat prishtavan bhuyo vayyasakim rishim kavim. Shaunakuvacha ityabhivyarutam raja nishamya bharatarshabah kimanyat prishtavan bhuyo vayyasakim rishim kavim. So Shaunak Uvacha. Shaunaka is representing all the sages over there. He's asking the question to Suta Goswami. Iti abhi vyarutam. Everything was spoken. Rajaha nishamya bharatarshabha. Everything was spoken to the king, and the king heard everything. Kimanyat prishtavan. Still, why is he going on inquiring? Everything has been spoken. Nothing is left. Bhuyaha vayasikim rishim kavim. Again, the questions are asked by the son of to the son of Vyasadeva. Again, what did now Parikshit Maharaj again inquire from him after hearing all that he had said? Sometimes the question comes now, what is again? Why the same thing is asked? The same thing is asked in a different way. Now he has heard everything. Then what did he inquire? Okay, what did he inquire? Okay. Bindu Mataji, read.
Hare Krishna Mataji. Shaunakavacha iti abhivyarutam raja nishamya bharatarshabha kim anyat prashtavan bhuyo vayyasakim rishim kavim. Translation. Shaunaka said, the son of Vyasadeva, Srila Sukadeva Goswami, was a highly learned sage and was able to describe things in a poetic manner. What did Maharaja Parikshit again inquire from him after hearing all that he had said? Purport. A pure devotee of the Lord automatically develops all godly qualities, and some of the prominent features of those qualities are as follows. He is kind, peaceful, truthful, equable, faultless, magnanimous, mild, clean, non-possessive, a well-wisher to all, satisfied, surrendered to Krishna, without hankering, simple, fixed, self-controlled, a balanced eater, sane, mannerly, prideless, grave, sympathetic, friendly, poetic, expert, and silent. Out of these 26 prominent features of a devotee, as described by Krishna Das Kaviraj in his Chaitanya Charitamrita, the qualification of being poetic is especially mentioned herein in relation to Sukadeva Goswami. The presentation of Srimad Bhagavatam by his recitation is the highest poetic contribution. He was a self-realized learned sage. In other words, he was a poet amongst the sages. Hare
So
Krishna.
Kavim, yeah, Kavim word has come. So Prabhupada says 26 qualities of a devotee. And that Kavim is most important. So here Vyasadeva's son, Sukadeva Goswami, has presented Srimad Bhagavatam in a very highest poetic way. That is why this is the highest poetic contribution. So their question is, what everything has been answered so nicely. Again, what is the inquiry? Eta shrushushatam vidvan sutanor-hasi bhajitum kata hari kathodarka satam syu sadasi dhruvam etat shrushushatam vidvan sutanor-hasi bhajitum kata hari kathodarka satam syu sadasi dhruvam etat shushrushatam vidwan sutaha. So we are very eager to hear. Naha, unto us, please explain to us. Arhasi, you may do this. Bhashitum. You please explain to us. We are very eager to hear such topics. Hari Katha Udarkaha. So these topics result in glorification of the Lord. Satam Sihu Sadasi Dhruvam. Satam. So the topics of Hari is discussed among the assembly of the devotees. So we want to know what was the next question asked. Everything was answered so nicely. What is the next question asked by Parikshit Maharaj? Because in the assembly of the devotees, what is done? If a person says, I am a devotee, then he should speak about Krishna. Or when there is an assembly of devotees, they should not speak something nonsense. If they speak something nonsense, they are not devotees. Simple. They are acting on the garb of a devotee. And generally, we see when class happens everybody hears. But when the time comes of prasadam distribution, okay, some little bit here and there, but not too much engrossed in materialistic talk. If too much engrossed in materialistic talk, then he is in the garb of a devotee. In fact, at that time they can discuss more about what they have heard, or just be silent and contemplate on what they have heard. Prasadam distribution, while taking prasadam, or when the opportunity immediately comes, start speaking something which is irrelevant. So it is very clearly said, the assembly of the devotees, as Hari Katha should be heard. Or Hari Sambandha, whatever activities, you can talk about that. Like Janmashtami is coming, you can talk, raise the funds. Main thing is now what? Fundraising only, no? Every temple is into fundraising. 1 week before, then comes what all arrangement has to be done. But before that, how to arrange for that fundraising is very important. Every devotee should think about how to raise the funds. If he is not thinking about how to raise the funds, then he is only an artificial reader of Bhagavad Gita Bhagavatam. Simple. Because practical application of Bhagavad Gita Bhagavatam is, we have to celebrate the festivals where topics of Krishna, Hari Sambandhi, making people come near to Krishna. That is very important. If I may be speaking about Krishna, but I am not utilizing the people in Krishna's service. Well, what is the use? What is the use of such speech also? I have to utilize everyone's energy in service of Lord. In the direct, if we say, they will not do. That means we don't want them to do. Simple. Generally, we say, oh, nobody is interested, nobody will come, nobody will do. You don't want them to come. You don't want them to do. That is why the topic is like, oh, nobody will do. Everybody will do. Everybody has 1 rupee. Everybody has 10 rupees. Everybody has 100 rupees. Everybody has 1,000 rupees. Everybody has 1 lakh also. Some may have, some may not have. But everybody has 1 rupee, 10 rupees. How eager we are into fundraising. See, I'm telling this fundraising, distribution books, This is all nothing but helping the mission grow. We may give, but we are not asking others. That means we have a pride. If we don't ask others, our ego will not make us humble. We have to be humble. Humility lies in begging. Chaitanya Mahaprabhu begged for Haridas Thakur. So that is why here very important. Discussion of Hari Katha. That doesn't mean that you only have to give class. Some people are very interested only in giving class. I take class. How much funds have you raised? How much you're bringing people near to Krishna? Not just taking class. We should understand it very nicely. Discussion of Hari Katha refers to not only discussion, making an arrangement for allowing many people to hear Hari Katha. And what can be the best opportunity other than Janmashtami? It's the most best opportunity you have. Janmashtami is actually not for the devotees. Understand it very nicely. Janmashtami is only an indication that Radha Ashtami is coming. That is why devotees are eager to celebrate so that quickly we can celebrate Radha Ashtami. Janmashtami is for local outsiders. There will be demigod worshippers, so many people. So now be eager. How nicely I can connect people in Krishna. Krishna consciousness. There is a devotee in Thane, Krishnamurti Prabhu. He is raising funds from Hyderabad, so many people, so many places. Generally we think, oh, let me raise fund only from the local. He raises funds from different Chennai here and there. That is how you should be Krishna conscious. If you are not Krishna, if you are not interested in giving facilities to the people, we are not Krishna conscious, simple. We are only greedy to take it and having some ego to give it. Not having any humility to beg. This should be very important. Humility to beg. And this is an opportunity. Just don't be preachers. Don't be inclined to become a preacher, writing notes and vomiting out whatever you have heard. Simple. Writing notes, vomiting out. This is only a preacher can do. But writing notes, then resolving oneself in it, absorbing oneself, practical application, how best I can use people's energy, that is Krishna's energy, in serving Krishna. Then that person is a real preacher in sense. He may not be knowing Bhagavad Gita Bhagavatam, but he is inclined to bring everyone in Krishna consciousness. Nirbandha Krishna Sambandhe. Yukta Vairagya. Be Yukta Vairagi. Don't have a show-off tendency. Be a Yukta Vairagi. Very, very important. Stand on the roads. Beg people. Oh, Janmashtami is coming. In ISKCON, we distribute a lot of prasadam. Please give. Stand on the roads. Call your friends. You may have some relatives. Call them. Nobody will say no for 100 rupees. Will they say no? Nowadays, people instantly give 500 rupees, 200 rupees. We don't have that inclination to ask. That is why discussion, this is very important. Topics which result in the discussion of Harikatha should certainly be discussed in the assembly of devotees. This Harikatha includes everything. Just don't think I will just make a note here to the classes 10 times, make a note and just give it. No. I will say that is vomiting out, nothing else. Digest it, apply it. Have compassion. See, 26 qualities of devotion. What is the 26 qualities? And that one biggest thing is compassion. If you don't use people's energy in Krishna consciousness, their life is gone. Their opportunity to serve Krishna is gone. That is why a devotee should be very, very compassionate. Tan, man, dhan. Okay, somebody is not able to serve, but somebody's mind can be put in Krishna consciousness. Somebody's dana can be put in Krishna consciousness. But I don't want to do that. I restrict the people. I don't want that to be done. Then I am not compassionate. Jivadaya. In that everything comes. Why Prabhupada started life membership? Prabhupada said, so that people will start giving their funds. When somebody gives, that like your child comes, what you do? You give something. You like to give something. You like to give gifts to your child, to your father, to your mother. Start giving gifts to Krishna. Automatically you will understand Krishna is a person. When we start giving gift, donation is nothing but a gift to Krishna. When we start giving gift to Krishna, that gift is distributed among the devotees for the service of the devotees. Then that love will come. Or one will become a big armchair philosopher. Simple armchair philosopher. Practical application is not there, then he is only an armchair philosopher. Okay. Vrindavan Lila Mataji, read.
Hare Krishna Mataji. Etachushushataam vidvan sutanорahasi bhashitum katha hari kathodarka satam siv sadasi dhruvam. O learned Suta Goswami, please continue to explain such topics to us because we are all eager to hear. Besides that, topics which result in the discussion of the Lord Hari should certainly be discussed in the assembly of devotees. As we have already quoted above from Bhakti Rasamrita Sindhu of Rupa Goswami, even mundane things, if dovetailed in the service of the Lord Sri Krishna, are accepted as transcendental. For example, the epics or the histories of Ramayana and Mahabharata, which are specifically recommended for the less intelligent classes, women, Shudras, and unworthy sons of the higher castes, are also accepted as Vedic literature because they are compiled in connection with the activities of the Lord. Mahabharata is accepted as the fifth division of the Vedas after its first four divisions, namely Sam, Yajur, Rig, and Atharva. Thus, less intelligent do not accept Mahabharata as part of the Vedas, but great sages and authorities accept it as the fifth division of the Vedas. Bhagavad Gita is also part of the Mahabharata, and it is full of the Lord's instruction for the less intelligent class of men. Some less intelligent men say that Bhagavad Gita is not meant for householders, but such foolish men forget that Bhagavad Gita was explained to Arjun, a grihast, family man, and spoken by the Lord in his role as a grihast. So Bhagavad Gita, although containing the high philosophy of the Vedic wisdom, is for the beginners in the transcendental science, and Srimad Bhagavatam is for graduates and postgraduates in the transcendental science. Therefore, literatures like Mahabharata, the Puranas, and similar other literatures, which are full of the pastimes of the Lord, are all transcendental literatures, and they should be discussed with full confidence in the society of great devotees. The difficulty is that such literatures, when discussed by professional men, appear to be mundane literature, like histories or epics, because there are so many historical facts and figures. It is said here, therefore, that such literature should be discussed in the assembly of devotees. Unless they are discussed by devotees, such literatures cannot be relished by the higher class of men. So the conclusion is that the Lord is not impersonal in the ultimate issue. He is the supreme person, and he has his different activities. He is the leader of all living entities, and he descends at his will and by his personal energy to reclaim the fallen souls. Thus, he plays exactly like the social, political, or religious leaders. Because such roles ultimately culminate in the discussion of topics of the Lord, all such preliminary topics are also transcendental. That's a way of spiritualizing the civic activities of human society. Men have inclinations for studying history and many other mundane literatures, stories, fiction, dramas, magazines, newspapers, etc. So let them be dovetailed with the transcendental service of the Lord, and all of them will turn to the topics relished by all devotees. The propaganda that the Lord is impersonal, that he has no activity, and that he is a dumb stone without any name and form has encouraged people to become godless, faithless demons. And the more they deviate from the transcendental activities of the Lord, the more they become accustomed to mundane activities that only clear their path to hell instead of return them home back to Godhead. Srimad Bhagavatam begins from the history of the Pandavas with necessary politics and social activities. And yet, Srimad Bhagavatam is said to be the Paramhamsa Samhita, or the Vedic literature meant for the topmost transcendentalist. And it describes Param Jnanam, the highest transcendental knowledge. Pure devotees of the Lord are all Paramhamsas, and they are like the swans who know the art of sucking milk out of a mixture of milk and water. Hare Krishna Mataji.
So there's a verse, Satam Prasangal Mama Virya Samvido. Mama Virya Samvido. Discuss the topics among the devotees. Then only devotees can appreciate also. We cannot hear from a person who has no love for Krishna. So there's a verse which says, Satam prasangan mama virya samvido bhavanti rutkarna rasayana katha tajoshanada shapavargavartmani shraddha ritir bhakti ranukramishati. Satam prasangan mama virya samvido. Only in the assembly of the devotees, if a person hears about Krishna katha, bhavanti rutkarna rasayana katha, then he can rasayana katha. He can cherish the sweetness of katha. The Joshanat Asha Pavargavartmani. He comes out of all the Pavarga. He becomes a Pavarga. Pa fa ba ba ma. Pa pa fa ba ba ma. Then Shraddha Ratir Bhakti Ranukramishati. In this way he attains bhakti. Even 50 years ago, the social structure of all Indians was so arranged that they would not read any literature that was not connected with the activities of the Lord. 50 years before, yes. Our ages are now how much? 55. We are now in between 50 and 60. So if we go back, our fathers were only telling about Ramayana, Mahabharata. We were not reading something mundane. They would not play any drama not connected with the Lord. True. At least in my life, I have seen. We used to go to see drama. Then all in the dramas, the street dramas used to be there. Only about Lord. Only about Lord. Ramayana, Mahabharata. They would not organize a fair or ceremony not connected with the Lord. Nor would they visit a place that was not holy. Yes. I don't know how many Divideshams we have seen, even in the childhood also, and sanctified by the pastimes of the Lord. Therefore, even the common man in the village would talk about Ramayana, Mahabharata, Gita, Bhagavatam, even from his very childhood. But by the influence of the age of Kali, they have been dragged to the civilizations of the hogs and dogs, laboring for bread without any sense of transcendental knowledge. So, when Prabhupada is writing this, even 50 years ago, just imagine, even our 50 years ago also, the situation was good, was not bad. But now it is the worst. Only few families saved by Srila Prabhupada are speaking about Krishna. But if you see in the outside world, they are not interested at all. So that is why one has to try out more. One has to try out more. They are interested in some here and there. At least some way, head or crook, connect them. People have money. They can easily partake with their money. But if you call them for satsang program, they don't have time. So head or crook, connect them. Connect them in Krishna consciousness. Savai Bhagavato Raja Pandaveyo Maharataha Bala Kridanakai Kridan Krishna Kridam Ya Adade. Savai Bhagavato Raja Pandaveyo Maharataha Bala Kridanakai Kridan Krishna Kridam Ya Adade. So Maharaj Parikshit now Shaunaka the Rishi, Shaunaka is speaking about Parikshit Maharaj. He says, Parikshit Maharaj is the grandson of Pandavas. Pandaveyo, grandson of Pandava. And he's a Maharathi. Right from his child, and he's a great devotee also. Bhagavata is a great devotee. Right from childhood, what he used to play? Krishna Krida, activities of Krishna. And he used to worship Lord Krishna by imitating the worship of the family deity. Kridanakahi, Kridan. So he used to play with the dolls. Which doll? Krishna doll only. Like children, you buy and give a Krishna doll, Jagannath doll. So right from the childhood, they have the habit of playing with Krishna in the form of a doll. Like our small Nayana Manjari as various sets of dolls. All these dolls are sets of Ramayana, Krishna. That is how you have to encourage children. Then they have their own altar Jagannath, Baldev, Subhadra, then Ram, Lakshman, Sita, Krishna, Radha, they have the dolls. Then they set their own altar. Then they put flowers. That is how you have to encourage children. Children can be encouraged, not small children, you cannot say chant, chant. Small children, how you can should make them chant? They will chant while playing with the doll. So the stupid parents are those who buy Barbie dolls, which has no sense. But intelligent parents are one who buy Krishna dolls. That is how they encourage their children to become Krishna conscious. It's a very important factor. From Bhagavatam, we have to learn all this. Some stupid cars, some stupid Barbie dolls, which has no sense. Instead, you buy for them, they become automatically, they become Krishna conscious. Because right from childhood, they are sleeping with Krishna. They like to sleep with Krishna. They like to play with Krishna. So in this way, Krishna Katha automatically is imbibed into the children. This is the way, this is all technique of making them Krishna conscious. This is all the technique. And Maharaj Parikshit was automatically interested in worshipping Krishna by imitating the worship of the family deity. So here what has been given, he playing dolls. So he used to play with Krishna in the form of the dolls. Okay. Okay. Aruna Mataji.
Hare Krishna. Text 15. Savai Bhagavato Raja Pandaveyo Maharatah Balakridana Kai Kridan Krishna Kridam Ya Adade. Translation. Maharaja Parikshit, the grandson of the Pandavas, was from his very childhood a great devotee of the Lord. Even while playing with dolls, he used to worship Lord Krishna by imitating the worship of the family deity. Purport by Srila Prabhupada, Prabhupada ki Jai. In the Bhagavad Gita 6.41, it is stated that even a person who has failed in the proper discharge of yoga practice is given a chance to take birth in the house of a devout Brahmanas or in the house of rich men like Kshatriya kings or rich merchants. But Maharaja Parikshit was more than that because he had been a great devotee of the Lord since his previous birth, and as such he took his birth in an imperial family of the Kurus and especially that of the Pandavas. So from the very beginning of his childhood, he had the chance to know intimately the devotional service of Lord Krishna in his own family. The Pandavas, all being devotees of the Lord, certainly venerated family deities in the royal place for worship. Children who appear in such families, fortunately, generally imitate such worship of the deities, even in the way of childhood play. By the grace of Lord Krishna, we had the chance of being born in a Vaishnava family.
Prabhupada tells about himself that he is born in a Vaishnava family.
And in our childhood, we imitated the worship of Lord Krishna by imitating our father. Our father encouraged us in all respects to observe all functions such as the Rath Yatra, the Dola Yatra ceremonies, and he used to spend money liberally for distributing prasada to us children and our friends. Our spiritual master, who also took his birth in a Vaishnava family, got all inspirations from his great Vaishnava father, Thakura Bhakti Vinoda. That is the way of all lucky Vaishnava families. The celebrated Mirabai was a staunch devotee of Lord Krishna and as the great lifter of Govardhan Hill. The life history of many such devotees is almost the same because there is always symmetry between the early lives of all great devotees of the Lord. According to Jiva Goswami, Maharaja Parikshit must have heard about the childhood pastimes of Lord Krishna at Vrindavana, for he used to imitate the pastimes with his young playmates. According to Sridhara Swami, Maharaja Parikshit used to imitate the worship of the family deity by elderly members. Srila Vishwanatha Chakravarti also confirms the viewpoint of Jiva Goswami. So,
accepting either of them, Maharaja Parikshit was naturally inclined to Lord Krishna from his very childhood. He might have imitated either of the above mentioned activities, and all of them establish his great devotion from his very childhood, a symptom of a Mahabhagavata. Such Mahabhagavatas are called Nitya Siddhas, or souls liberated from birth. But there are also others who may not be liberated from birth, but who develop a tendency for devotional service by association, and they are called sadhana siddhas. There is no difference between the two in the ultimate issue, and so the conclusion is that everyone can become a sadhana siddha, a devotee of the Lord, simply by association with the pure devotees. The concrete example is our great spiritual master, Sri Narada Muni. In his previous life, he was simply a boy of a maid servant, but through association with great devotees, he became a devotee of the Lord of his own standard, unique in the history of a devotional service. Hare Krishna.
Somebody can be a Nitya Siddha, somebody can be a Sadhana Siddha. Ultimate aim is the same for both. Nitya Siddhas, they get right from the beginning. They are born in a Vaishnava family. They imitate their parents in worshipping the Lord. Their only focus is how to worship Lord very nicely. They offer flowers very nicely. They're full. But there are people who are not getting this fortune. Their childhood is just spent in playing. Their youth is just spent in drinking or maybe watching some nonsensical things. So they're not much inclined in bhakti. Some rituals here and there, going to this demigod, that demigod, something rituals. They're not very fortunate. But if they take up sadhana very nicely, then they can attain pure devotional service. If they take up sadhana very sincerely. That is why chanting of the holy name is very important. If sadhana is done very nicely, then they get the result what Nitya Siddhas get. You see, there are small children, they like to only talk about Krishna. They like to play about Krishna. They like to worship Krishna. And they are fortunate enough. Vaiyasakishcha Bhagavan Vasudeva Parayanah Urugaya Gunodara Satam Syuhim Samagame. Vaiyasakishcha Bhagavan Vasudeva Parayanah Urugaya Gunodara Satam Syurhi Samagame. Vaiyasaki, unto the son of Vyasadeva, Cha Bhagavan Vasudeva Parayanah. Now about Sukadeva Goswami is spoken. About Mahabhagavata, Parikshit Maharaj has spoken. Now about Sukadeva Goswami. Sukadeva Goswami is son of Vyasadeva. Bhagavan Vasudeva Parayana. He is attached to the transcendental knowledge of Krishna. Urugaya. Now Lord's one of the name is Urugaya. He is very much attached to Urugaya. Urugaya means who is glorified by the great philosophers. Urugaya. Guna Udaraha. Now Vaiyasaki has wonderful qualities. Great qualities. Guna. 1 minute. Yeah. Guna Udaraha. This can refer to Krishna also. This can refer to devotees also. Satam, the great qualities of the devotees. Syo, he, samagame. So in the company of great devotees, yes, there must have been discussion of Lord Krishna, who is glorified by great philosophers, and in the company of great devotees. So Sukadeva Goswami, the son of Vyasadeva, was full of transcendental knowledge. And he's a great devotee of Lord. And what is happening? Vaiyasaki Bhagavan Vasudeva Parayana. And Lord's great qualities are sung by the devotees. In the company of devotees, again, the qualities of Krishna is sung. So, about Sukadeva Goswami has been spoken. So, Lakshana of a devotee is he always speaks about Krishna. That should be the Lakshana of a devotee. So, that is how Tushyanti cha Ramanti cha. He should always be eager to speak about Krishna. Okay. So, Ravindra Prabhu, read.
Yes, Master. Hare Krishna. वैद्य सखीश्च भगवान् वासुदेव परायणः योगाय गुणोदारः तां चूर्हि समागमे. Translation by Srila Prabhupada. Sukadeva Goswami, the son of Vyasadeva, was also full in transcendental knowledge and was a great devotee of Lord Krishna, son of Vasudeva. There must have been discussion of Lord Krishna, who is glorified by great philosophers and in the company of great devotees. Purport by Srila Prabhupada. The word Satam is very important in this word. Satam means the pure devotees, who have no other desires than to serve the Lord. Only in the association of such devotees are the transcendental glories of Lord Krishna properly discussed. It is said by the Lord that his topics are all full of spiritual significance. And once one properly hears about him in the association of the Sattam, certainly one senses the great potency and so automatically attains to the devotional state of life. As already described, Maharaj Parikshit was a great devotee of the Lord from his very birth, and so was Sukadeva Goswami. Both of them were of the same level. Although it appeared that Maharaj Parikshit was a great king accustomed to royal facilities, whereas Sukadeva Goswami was a typical renouncer of the world, so much so that he did not even put a cloth on his body. Superficially, Maharaj Parikshit and Sukadeva Goswami might seem to be opposites, but basically they were both unalloyed pure devotees of the Lord. When such devotees are assembled together, there can be no topic save discussions of the glories of the Lord or Bhakti Yoga. In the Bhagavad Gita also, when there were talks between the Lord and his devotee Arjuna, there could not be any topic other than Bhakti Yoga. However, the mundane scholars may speculate on it as in their own ways. The use of the word cha after Vaya Sakhihi suggests, according to Srila Jiva Goswami, that both Sukadeva Goswami and Maharaj Parikshit were of the same categories, settled long before, although one was playing the part of the master and the other the part of the disciple. Since Lord Krishna is the center of the topics, the word Vasudev Parayanaha or devotee of Vasudev suggests devotee of Lord Krishna, the common name. Although there were many others who assembled at the place where Maharaj Parikshit was fasting, the natural conclusion is that there was no topic other than the glorification of Lord Krishna, because the principal speaker was Sukadeva Goswami and the chief audience was Maharaj Parikshit. So Srimad Bhagavatam, as it was spoken and heard by the two principal devotees of Lord, is only for the glorification of Supreme Lord, the personality of Godhead, Sri Krishna. Hare Krishna.
So, Vasudeva Parayanaha has been given. And there, Bhagavataha Raja. He is a king, is also Bhagavataha, devotee of Krishna. He is playing the role of a disciple, and Vyasaki, Vyasa's son, is playing the role of the master, is Vasudeva Parayana. Why there is an urgency of hearing Krishna Katha? Answer is 17th verse. It's a very urgent thing. Hearing and speaking about Krishna is very much important. Ayur harati vai pumsam udyannastam cha yannasau tasyarte yakshano nita uttama shloka vartaya. The rising of the sun, setting of the sun, what happens? By rising and setting, the sun is decreasing the duration of life of everyone, except one who utilizes the time by discussing topics of Krishna. Only one who is studying Bhakti Vaibhav, their duration of life is increasing, isn't it? At least every day you are reading Bhagavad Gita, Bhagavatam. But Krishna is telling here, both by rising and setting, the sun decreases the duration of life of everyone. Ayur harati vaipumsam uttillastam cha yannasau tasyarte yakshano nitaha uttama shloka vartaya. Except for those who are always eager to hear and speak about Krishna, their ayu will never decrease. Why their Ayu will not decrease? Though the body may go, the activity will remain the same. But duration of life is decreasing. What it means, duration of life is decreasing. Wasting of the time. Time cannot be wasted just because it's my time. I cannot just spend my time in the way I want. Very clearly it has been given. By rising and the setting, the sun decreases the duration of life of everyone, except of those who are inclined in the topics of the Supreme Personality of God. He utilizes the time because time is Krishna. Krishna says, Aham Kalosmi. That is why one should utilize the time in reading about Krishna, hearing the topics about Krishna, chanting Krishna's name. It's very important. Or just waste the time. Nowadays, to waste the time, your mobiles are enough. You want something nonsense, you can go on. It's an addiction. You cannot come out of, you just on something, you want to see the next, It's like owning the TV and sitting. People who are watching the television, they're not actually really watching the television. At our times, the television first came, at least we were watching one thing sincerely and seriously. A Discovery Channel used to come. We used to watch that, one cartoon. But nowadays, because so many things are there, they go on changing. That means they're not even watching TV also properly. A stupid TV was introduced. But that time, at least some sensible one thing was there. Something they used to show, at least something. But nowadays, no sense is there. It's actually nonsense. Even mobiles. When we had mobile, it was used for a specific purpose, calling people. Nowadays, smartphones. We say we get so many things, but people are not utilizing that smartphone to become really smart. They become dull-headed by watching those which should not be watched. No sense in it. Okay. Gandhi Prabhu, read. The last verse for today.
आयुर्हरति वै पुंसामुद्यन्नस्तं च यन्नसौ तस्यर्थे यत्क्षणो नीत उत्तम श्लोका वर्तया. Translation by Srila Prabhupada. Both by rising and by setting, the sun decreases the duration of life of everyone, except one who utilizes the time by discussing topics of the all-good personality of Godhead. Purport by Srila Prabhupada ki jai. This verse indirectly confirms the greater importance of utilizing the human form of life. We realize our lost relationship with the Supreme Lord by acceleration of devotional service. Time and tide wait for no man. So the time indicated by the sunrise and the sunset will uselessly wasted if such time is not properly utilized for realizing identification of spiritual value. Even a fraction of the duration of life wasted cannot be compensated by any amount of gold. Human life is simply awarded to a living entity, Jiva, so that he can realize his spiritual identity and his permanent source of happiness. A living being, especially the human being, is seeking happiness because happiness is the natural situation of the living entity. But he is vainly seeking happiness in the material atmosphere. A living being is constitutionally a spiritual spark of the complete whole, and his happiness can be perfectly perceived in spiritual activities. The Lord is the complete spirit whole, and his name, form, quality, pastime, courage, and personality are all identical with him. Once a man comes into contact with any one of the above mentioned energies of the Lord through the proper channel of devotional service, the door to perfection is immediately opened. In Bhagavad Gita 2.40, the Lord has explained such contact in the following words. Endeavors in devotional service are never baffled, nor is there failure. A slight beginning of such activities is sufficient even to deliver a person from the great ocean of material fears. As a highly potent drug injected intravenously act as one at once on the whole body, the transcendental topics of the Lord injected through the ear by the pure devotee of the Lord can act very efficiently. Oral realization of the transcendental messages implies total realization, just as fructification of one part of tree implies fructification of all other parts. This realization for a moment in the association of pure devotees like Sukadeva Goswami prepares one's complete life for eternity, and thus the sun fails to rob the pure devotee of his duration of life. In as much as he is constantly busy in the devotional service of the Lord, purifying his existence. That is symptoms of the material infection of the eternal living being. Only due to material infection is the eternal living entity subjected to a law of birth, death, old age, and disease. The materialistic way of pious activities like charity is recommended in the Smriti Shastras as quoted by Srila Vishwanath Chakravarti Thakur. Money given in charity to a suitable person is guaranteed by bank balance in the next life. Such charity is recommended to be given to Brahmanas. If the money is given in a charity to a non-Brahmana without Brahminical qualification, the money is returned in the next life in the same proportion. If it is given in charity to a half-educated Brahmana, even then the money is returned double. If the money is given in a charity to a learned and fully qualified Brahmana, the money is returned 100 and 1,000 times. And if the money is given to a Veda Paraga, one who has actually realized the path of Vedas, it is written by unlimited multiplication. The ultimate end of Vedic knowledge is realization of the personality of Godhead, Lord Krishna, as stated in the Bhagavad Gita. Vedascha sarvair aham eva vedya. There is guarantee of monies being returned if given in charity, regardless of the proportion. Similarly, a moment passed in the association of the pure devotee by hearing and chanting the transcendental message of the Lord is a perfect guarantee for eternal life, for returning home back to Godhead. Mad dhama gato nar janma na bhave. In other words, a devotee of the Lord is guaranteed eternal life. A devotee's old age or disease in the present life is but an impetus to such guaranteed eternal life. Thank you, Mataji. Hare Krishna. Dhanavad.
Okay. So any questions you can ask. Ayurharati vai pumsam udyanastam chayannasau tasyarte yachano nitah uttama shloka vartaya. Can memorize this shloka, nice shloka. Even next shloka also you can memorize. There are so many people who are living. Dogs are living, hogs are living, camels are living, trees are living. The bellows of the blacksmith is also breathing. What they do? Breathes, it looks as if it's breathing. The beasts are also eating, discharging the semen. What is so big in it? Why live a life just for eating, mating, sleeping, defending? So saman bonam of that is this. So ayur harati vai pumsam udyannastam chayannasau tasyartir shalonitaha uttama shloka vartaya. So whoever is discussing topics of Krishna, whoever is serving Krishna, their ayu, they will never die. That means their activities will never die. And your body has to change only. Activities will not die. So see that the activities is not dying. That is more important. So now how many verses are there? 8 verses are there. 2 days we'll try to complete because purports are very big. Prabhupada has taken full advantage of giving a nice description of all the purports. The very important purpose. Okay, stop here.
Mataji?
Acha, Mataji. Yeah.
It's not a question, Mataji, just a query or an observation. Mataji, here we see the audience are so exalted, and the subject which is being discussed is also very lofty, and they are able to comprehend it so nicely. Their questions, their queries, everything is so fantastic. Like we cannot compare ourselves to them. And here we are trying to listen to that conversation and trying to understand it. How much can we understand, Mataji? We may be taking all the questions from Bhakti Vaibhav, but then we are so far
See,
from that.
if you remember the first canto, where Sutta Goswami says, I will be explaining to the extent I have realized.
Yes.
Hmm?
Yes.
The first canto speaks about it. I will only give that much whatever I have realized. So it's not necessary that whatever we have heard, everything we have to realize. There are certain aspects we can realize. When we realize that, we can speak outside. By hearing to the conversation, we are purified because topics of Krishna is discussed. So it is good for everyone. What is the ultimate thing which is beneficial for everyone? That was a question asked. Topics of Krishna. And how the topics of Krishna are expanded by question answer session. So because of the questions asked, the topics also went on increasing. So that is how when we read the topics, when we hear the questions asked, we can appreciate, yes, this is a question asked, answer is there, so the topics of Krishna is expanded. So to the extent we can catch it, we can catch it. We can realize. Doesn't matter. In any yoga, Harikatha is the same. Whether in that yoga, understanding, grasping, again, it is Hari who gives the grasping tendency. It can be Satyuga also, it can be Kali Yuga also. Understanding can come tasyete katita yartam prakashante mahatmada. Sevon mukhai jivado swayameva spurtiyatah. This is the same. Yasadeva parabhakti yatha devi tatha guru tatha tasyete katita yartam prakashante mahatmana. You serve your spiritual master as good as you're serving Krishna. You serve Krishna very nicely. Then Krishna automatically gives knowledge through the spiritual master. It can be any yoga, it doesn't matter. Satya Yoga, Trita Yoga. Hari Katha is the same. To understand Hari Katha requires mercy of the spiritual master.
Yes. Now we are attending your class. How do we expand our understanding?
I
and
don't know, I'm just
realization?
reading. I am just reading. So that is for my purification. Simple.
Our purification is also involved, Mataji.
Yeah,
So
everyone's
as a
purification.
selfish,
Because
as a
we
selfish
can take
person,
shelter of Srila Prabhupada. Srila Prabhupada is present in his books. That is why, because we have taken shelter of the great personality, great Acharya, automatically our purification is going to happen. Is happening in fact. Purification is happening. Mercy is flowing through the purpose of Srila Prabhupada. That is why we are not missing anything. Because Bhagavatam is hard work of Srila Prabhupada. Every word Prabhupada says. It's Prabhupada's realization. Somebody hurried Prabhupada. Prabhupada, you have less time. Finish up with all the purpose. Prabhupada said, it is Lord who is bestowing his mercy. He is giving the intelligence to write. I am not writing with my own intelligence. So this is mercy of Lord unto Srila Prabhupada, and Srila Prabhupada is giving to us. So that is how when we have got this platform of Bhakti Vaibhav, Bhakti Shastri, in this platform, both the speaker and the hearer, or the teacher or the student, everybody is benefited because we have taken shelter of Srila Prabhupada.
then why is it, Mataji, like, unfortunately, we see many learned devotees, but then, I don't want to use any negative word, but then it's just confined to just knowledge itself. Why is it
That is
not
what I
able to
told,
bring
na?
that
If it's
purification?
only confined to knowledge, then it's only vomiting out the knowledge. If it is not put into practice, that's why practical application is very much important. Armchair philosophers, yes. Practical application is taking part in the Rath-yatras, sevas, opportunity comes, broom the temple, cook for Krishna, dress Lord, collect funds, preach, everything should be involved. Or a person will only become bookish knowledge. There
How
will be
do
no
I rate
transformation.
myself? Sorry. How
Yeah,
do I
this-
rate myself, Mataji?
You are doing everything.
No,
You are
Mataji.
serving Lord, you are decorating Lord, you are holding festivals. So yes,
I'm-
practical application is very important, cooking for Krishna. Practical application is very important. If you don't do that, then armchair philosophers.
Miss, how do I rate myself? Like, okay, now this much, little bit I have learned. Have I made any improvement? This kind of rating.
Improvement, see, there's a nice story in this. The guru tells, go and collect the water. He takes the water to the pond. By the time he brings, all the water is gone. He sees a lot of holes are there. Again, the guru goes, tells, bring. Then he is fed up. He said, what is this? These are so many holes. He said, when you took the bowl first, it was very dirty. Now you see how it is. So it is a sublimation process. Automatically things will happen. We don't have to go on analyzing today what changes happen. It will happen. It is a sublimation process. When we are put in the process, then like the sugar cane is put in this, then juice has to come out. So when we are put in the process, automatically one has to become pure. It's a guaranteed process. When Prabhupada has designed a process for us, it's a guaranteed process. Prabhupada says, scrutinizingly study my books, it's a guaranteed process. Because acharyas want us to study. We don't know whether, like, medicine is given by the doctor. How much it is reacting on us, we don't know. But doctor knows, yes, he will be cured. So we don't know this medicine, how much it is going to cure us. It is going to cure. The one who is the doctor, acharya, he knows, yes, this is, we may have faith, we may not have faith. But the process is right.
I think that's a hope for people like me, just having
Yeah.
faith in the process.
Yes, the process is there because Prabhupada has given to us.
Yes.
And Prabhupada knows this is the process by which a sadhaka, because we are not nitya siddhas, we are sadhakas. A simple sadhaka can achieve what nitya siddhas can achieve just by following what Prabhupada wants us to do. Wake up early in the morning, chant the holy name, utilize every time, every moment, Krishna service. Process has been given. If we allow ourselves to put in that process very nicely, then we have taken shelter of Srila Prabhupada completely. And Srila Prabhupada says, catch my dhoti, I'll take you back home, back to God. So just catch hold of Prabhupada's dhoti.
Yes. Thank you so much, Mataji. Hare Krishna.
Aniksha, Vanchakalpidesha, Pasim,
Patitanam Pavanabhyo Vaishnavibhyo Namo Namaः. Jai Shri Prabhupada Ki Jai.